Stop investing in real estate for cash flow. It's dumb. Listen, when I first got into investing, I bought into all the hype of, hey, buy real estate for cash flow. That's going to lead you toward financial freedom, or that's where you can get the biggest cash flow gains for your money. And I found out along the way that it's a lie. And I'm going to tell you 3 reasons in this video very quickly on why, if you're looking to invest in real estate for cash flow, you might want to consider something else like a laundromat. Let's jump right into it with reason number 1. And in order to explain this one to you, I want to introduce you to what I call the wealth tripod. Now, if you're someone out there who's looking to build wealth, you're probably familiar with all of the legs of the wealth tripod. That is cash flow, obviously, which we're here to talk about today, equity, and tax advantages. Now, you can build wealth by utilizing and pulling the levers of any one of these legs, but when you can get them working together, that's where your wealth really accelerates. And since we're here to talk about cash flow, I want to introduce you to the wealth tripod so that I can show you why laundromats are such a powerful tool to build the cash flow leg of your wealth tripod. Now, in order to do this, I want to break down each of the asset classes, real estate and laundromats, and tell you how I would rank each of the legs of the wealth tripod for each of these 2 asset classes. So let's start with real estate, and we'll start with cash flow. I think real estate has okay cash flow gains. Now, they're not great. They're not going to make you rich off the bat. If you've ever done the math of how many doors you got to own to replace your W-2 income, maybe like me, you were overwhelmed by how many doors you'd have to own. So I'd say that real estate is okay when it comes to cash flow. However, where real estate really starts to shine is in equity potential, where you can build equity through multiple different ways, right? So that's applying leverage and letting tenants pay down that leverage. And that's through making intentional improvements that increase the value of your property. And that's just by the market going up. That's out of your hands, but that tends to happen over time in general. So equity gains in real estate, I would say, are good to great. And finally, when it comes to tax advantages, I think real estate is a great asset class for tax advantages. So just to recap, okay on cash flow, good to great on equity, and great on tax advantages. That's how I'd classify real estate. Now, laundromats, conversely, I think are great when it comes to cash flow. And I'll tell you why here in a second. But when it comes to equity, I think they're okay. And those 2 things are tied together on why one of them's okay and one of them's great, which we'll talk about in a second. And when it comes to tax depreciation and tax advantages, I would classify laundromats as good to great. So laundromats, great cash flow, okay equity gains, and good to great tax advantages. And before we get into why laundromats are so great in the cash flow leg of the wealth tripod, I want to just caveat all this by saying I invest in laundromats and I invest in real estate, both commercial and residential. I love both asset classes, and ideally, you have both. And I think that by having both of them working together, you're covering all the legs of the wealth tripod and really have the opportunity to accelerate your wealth. But if you are looking for cash flow, or if you're somebody who's trying to replace your W-2 income, leave your 9-to-5, looking for financial freedom as quickly as possible, those things we're talking about cash flow, and laundromats far outperform real estate when it comes to that. Here's why. This is the secret to laundromat cash flow, and it has to do with how laundromats are valued. Laundromats, just like investment real estate, specifically commercial real estate, are valued based on their net operating income. And for laundromats, you're going to apply a multiple to that net operating income in order to determine the value. Now, right now, as I'm recording this, the average multiples are somewhere in the 4.5 to 5.5 times the net operating income. So a base hit average laundromat deal is 5 times the net income, which means, let's say you're looking for $100,000 of cash flow. Maybe you want to replace a $100,000 job, or you just want an extra $100,000 coming in every single year. An average base hit laundromat would cost you about $500,000, and you can buy that $100,000 of cash flow. That's a 20% cash on cash return on your investment unleveraged. Now, if you apply leverage, you get a loan for it. You're probably looking somewhere between 25 and 35% down, and that return on investment can go up from there. But obviously, you would need to buy a higher value laundromat to hit that net income of $100,000 after loan payments. We won't break down the math, but you can check out a loan calculator online and figure out what that looks like for you. When it comes to real estate, an average base hit real estate deal, unleveraged, is giving you about a 6 to 8% return on your money. That means that same $500,000 that you could buy a laundromat that would give you $100,000 of cash flow is going to give you somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 of cash flow. So you can see that if you purchase an asset like a laundromat for the cash flow, you're going to grow that cash flow a whole lot quicker than if you buy the real estate for the cash flow. Reason number one that laundromats outperform real estate when it comes to cash flow is you just make more cash flow when you buy an asset like a laundromat. But that's not it. Reason number two why you should consider a laundromat before buying real estate for cash flow. Listen, you're not a base hit kind of person, and the two examples I just gave you before are base hit, average, everyday examples. Here's the beauty of laundromats when it comes to cash flow over real estate. Three of the biggest expenses of laundromats are rent, labor, and utilities. And two of the three of those, your rent and your labor, are fixed expenses, which means that gains above the break-even point provide outsized returns. So as you grow your business above break-even and beyond, your return on investment grows significantly faster, and you keep more of that cash flow in your pocket. As if that wasn't enough, I've got a third reason why you should consider laundromats to build your cash flow instead of real estate. I was on the Side Hustle Show podcast a while back, and on that episode, Nick and I were talking about cash flow opportunities. And one of the things that I mentioned on that show is that laundromats are like the ultimate side hustle because, yes, you can run them on the side. They don't necessarily take a full-time attention to be able to run it as an owner. However, in addition to that, there are also a bunch of side hustle or cash flow opportunities within the laundromat itself. And those can be huge opportunities like adding a service like drop-off laundry or pickup and delivery, which, by the way, are booming, to smaller or medium-sized opportunities like adding vending machines, ATM machines, a little store, a cafe, and a whole lot of other opportunities that you can add as a part of your laundromat that increase the cash flow gains going straight to your pocket. So not only do you have the primary income of your self-serve laundry, but you could essentially double or triple that by adding a drop-off and pickup and delivery service, or add smaller services that still remain mostly hands-off like vending machines and ATMs, but retain more cash flow from the space that you're already utilizing for your laundromat. As you grow your business, the larger the margins get and the more cash flow you keep in your pocket. And there's multiple other opportunities within the laundromat business itself to increase your cash flow returns and put more money in your pocket. Now, listen, if you're watching this right now and you're excited about laundromats and you're somebody who's a DIYer, you want to go learn it yourself, check out our free course. It's a playlist right here on YouTube. It'll show up at the end right up here on how to buy your first laundromat. It's a 3-part course, absolutely free, and it'll tell you how to get started with laundromat investing. If, however, you are here and you want to just do it right the first time, you want somebody who has experience to tell you exactly what to do, to give you the playbook, head over to laundromatresource.com/playbook and check out the program we put together that includes multiple courses to help you buy your first laundromat, to optimize that laundromat, not just for the maximum cash flow, but also to maximize your time. And then we'll help you to scale your business through adding a service if you want, like a wash, dry, fold, or pickup and delivery, and or through building a portfolio of multiple locations. That also includes one-on-one coaching with an experienced laundromat aficionado, owner, and a whole lot more. So go check out laundromatresource.com/playbook. If that's something you're interested in, we can jump on a call and talk more about that. Listen, all of this is great if you take some action on it. So if you're intrigued, if you're somebody looking for cash flow, check out laundromatresource.com. Go check out that free course or book a call to chat with me about getting started in your laundromat investing journey at laundromatresource.com/playbook.